Are you a company looking for support in making digital content? Why not try GL Pro? GL Pro are a business based in London that help businesses like yours create content for the web, whether it's podcasts, video, or even websites. These guys are really good at what they do. For a free consultation, please contact GL Pro on www.glpro.co.uk/TigerHeartChats. Welcome, guys, to the Tiger Heart Chats. I'm super happy with the response we're getting at the moment. So many people have reached out to us following on from the first few episodes that we've done. And some of the conversations that we're having post the first few episodes have been really awesome. Today, I've got someone super special for you guys. He is a business superstar. He's someone I've met a few times over the last few years and someone that I admire very much because he's just doing some fantastic things. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Mark Wright, Apprentice winner 2014. Is that right?
It is a long time ago now. It's good to be with you. Thanks for having me, Sanj.
Mate, it's a real pleasure. So you and I met at the Amvigo dinner. I think it was back in 2016 or 2017. Is that right?
Correct. We were at like a networking dinner. And I'm going to be honest with you, I hate networking. It's the bane of my life. And I got pulled in by my partner at the time to go to this dinner. And at that one dinner, I met yourself, who's become a fantastic connection. I met my current legal team that were at that dinner. I met through that one dinner, I met a load of new customers, connections, and a legal firm and everything. So I don't know what that tells you about networking. Maybe it does work.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, just like yourself, I get invited to a lot of things like that. And that was a very well curated event, I thought. Obviously, the venue was beautiful. The dinner was really extravagant. But just the way they curated the discussion and the ability to have people converse with each other was done very well.
Definitely. And I think that what I've now tried to do with networking to get the most out of it, because like yourself, I get invited to, post-COVID, let's go back in time. If I went to every coffee, dinner or lunch I got invited to, I'd actually never have time to work in my business or see any customers. So you need to be really specific about what you choose to do. And what I found to do is actually, like the event we attended, is look at who's going to be there. How is it organized? Where is it? Because I only want to really hang around with people that I can learn from, that I can become a better person from. I think these networking breakfasts people go to where everyone just stands up and says, I'm a chiropractor, it's $40 a session. I don't really know how you can move your business forward from that environment. So I've kind of, after that event we went to, I've learned a lot about how to choose events I go to get the most for myself and my business. And, it's great for connections.
Absolutely. And, right now more than ever, your time is so valuable, all aspects of it, obviously, spending some time at a place, but also just the time to get to somewhere or to prepare to get to somewhere. That takes time, which costs money ultimately.
Yeah, definitely. And, Warren Buffett has a good quote about, saying no to 98% of opportunities, is that defines the people that are most successful. And it's so true. I feel like I spend my days now just saying no or turning down situations, but the key is to know when to say yes to an opportunity. And I think so many people that are really operating in, my realm is speaking about business, helping business owners, helping entrepreneurs. And what I say to people is just being busy, just saying yes and going to things and feeling busy doesn't make you successful. You always need to stop and think, is this the best thing for my business right now? Me being here, me being on this call, me doing this podcast, whatever it might be. You have to have a plan and you have to stick to it, because a lot of people are literally, we've heard the term busy fools, just being busy and going actually backwards at 100 miles an hour.
To be honest, that's definitely something that I've had to learn over the years, is just to kind of restrain yourself and really open your eyes to what that opportunity is and to see if there is value there or not.
Definitely.
A lot of time there's not,
Well, yeah, definitely.
So Mark, I know we've kind of jumped in with regards to discussion, and that's brilliant. I really appreciate that. there's some people, and I'm going to say some because you are a bit of a rock star in the business world. There are some people that don't know much about you. And I'd love it if you could give a bit of background about, where you've come from and where you are and all the really cool things in between.
Oh, well, thank you. And listen, there's probably more than some people who don't know what I am. My audience, I was looking at my Instagram analytics, and I have an audience which seems to be men aged 19 to 31 who are interested in business and money. I wish it was the blonde models that were interested in my content, but it seems to be just the business owners. So look, for those that haven't heard of me or don't know who I am, which is probably a lot, I share a name with someone else called Mark Wright. He's from The Only Way is Essex, and I'm the business Mark Wright. People often get us confused, but we're very much different looking. I like to say I'm better looking. And as you can tell by my handsome accent, I'm not from the UK. I'm from Australia. So just to give you a very quick course in how we've got here today. I was born in Australia in the country in a small town called Armidale, where my mum's the local hairdresser and my dad is the local car garage mechanic. And I think as a child, you're a product of your environment. At the dinner table, my parents were always talking about business, small business. I hope the staff turn up tomorrow. I hope we can get a better deal on the rent. How are we going to pay the wages? So as a kid, I was always subject to my parents really learning their business and struggling to keep it operational. And all I wanted to do when I grew up was be a businessman, because that's all I saw. My parents working 7 days a week to keep their businesses going, and I would work on the receptions and stuff. So my goal was to be a big businessman when I grew up. But the problem was I was terrible at school. And this is not like the old adage, I was terrible at school. And now look, I didn't apply myself. And secondly, I'm horrendously dyslexic. I can't read and write at all to save myself. And it held me back really, really a lot at school, and to the point where I failed every single subject, I think, except for PE. My business studies teacher, I read my report the other day just to have a look back in time. And my business studies teacher said, Mark does not understand the fundamentals of business and shouldn't get a desk job.
God.
So I dropped out of school with literally no grades. And if you want to be rich, you want to be a businessman, all this stuff, you do need some kind of education to get into your first business. So that was a bit of a problem. So I Googled online what was the easiest way what was the fastest business you could open with no qualifications. And it was a personal training studio. You could get a 6-week certificate and be a personal training instructor, which I did. I went to move from Armidale, which had a few thousand people, to Brisbane, which had 3 million people in Australia. And I studied personal training over a 6 weeks period. I then started my own business, and I started working with people one-on-one, coaching them for their health and fitness, which I loved, by the way. But it was terrible money. The hours were terrible. The money was terrible. The conditions were terrible. And I fortunately got to training one of the richest men in Australia. He owned the equivalent of British Gas, but for Australia. Really successful guy, really rich guy. And I said to him, how do I get rich? And he said, son, don't be a personal trainer. I thought, that's a bit of a problem. I've just got my certificate. And I said, well, who's making money? Who are the businesses that are really successful? How do you make it? And, he went through with me about trading your time for money. And that's why it's very hard to become wealthy as a personal trainer. Then he went into that if you look at it statistically, the most successful people financially are in sales or marketing. And I thought, well, I'll go into that area. I mean, I don't care. I just want to be successful in business. So I quit my job as a personal trainer and I went working to the personal training college, where I got my certificate as their sales and marketing manager. And just at this time, this is when Google just started. Like, I'm showing my age now. I know, Sanj, I don't look this old, but Google was just starting up, and it was all the rage, getting your website on Google, all of this stuff. And the college I worked for, the first month I worked there, we got $2,000 in sales, and the company was going bankrupt. And the bloke there had invented a system where you could upload any educational course and do it from anywhere in Australia. And this was revolutionary because Australia is such a vast country. People used to drive 6, 7, 8 hours to go to school because that was the closest town away. So having a system where you could do it online was unbelievable. But
Wow.
no one was signing up because they didn't know about the system. And I said to him, how are you telling people about this? And he said, well, I got to add in the local newspaper and in the yellow pages. And I said, we need to be on the internet. We need to be on Google because that's what people are, where they look for stuff. And he's like, well, I don't know anything about that. So I asked him if I could spearhead it. And I taught myself how to make a website, and I got the website onto Google, and I got it ranking #1 for the Word Personal Training course.
Wow.
And we went in 1 month. My first month there, we got $2,000 in sales. And by the third month, we were getting $240,000 a month in sales. And it was just from being on the top of Google. So, just like when you find the right love in your life, you kind of know, right, deep down in your stomach. I think a career or a business is much the same. It kind of hit me like a bolt of lightning that This was I found my career. Getting marketing, digital advertising, digital marketing. I was good at it. I really enjoyed it. And I could see literally by getting each ranking or each keyword up the rankings, more money coming into the business. And it was a pretty exhilarating thing. And I knew that I'd found my career. So I now knew what I was going to do. And to cut a very long story short, before I was going to start my marketing agency, I did what every Australian does. I put 2 pairs of jeans and some shirts in a rucksack and did a 2-year backpacking expedition around the world. And on the second year, I ran out of money in Germany, in Berlin. I had 187 pounds in British. I got to London because it was the closest town which spoke English. And I started my UK journey. I had no money. I was living in a backpacking hostel called the White Ferry House. And I door knocked from Victoria to Hammersmith every day for a week until I got a job as a door-to-door Google AdWords salesman.
Right.
And I started working at the largest Google advertising business in the UK. They had 73 offices, 500 employees. But I really disagreed with the way they treated their staff. I really disagreed with they treated their customers. So we've got a saying in Australia, don't get bitter, get better. And I decided that I was going to put a business plan together for what I thought would be a digital advertising company that did things ethically, did things the right way, got tremendous results. And I took the business plan to 4 banks. But because I'm from Australia, not from the UK, they wouldn't give me the £25,000 loan I required. They wouldn't even open an account, to be honest.
Oh, God.
So I went on The Apprentice. And then here we are today. You flash forward, a few years since I've won The Apprentice. And life couldn't be any different, a boy that started as a backpacker with some knowledge in Google advertising to where my agency is now, my partnership with Lord Sugar, some of the companies I do the advertising for. I control a lot of the advertising for the Emirates Group, TikTok, the new social media platform, Groupon, these types of companies. You would never believe that when you went back 10 years ago and I was getting words up the Google rankings. But it's been an unbelievable journey. And I feel very blessed for, to have the profile I do in my industry and in business and have built up the connections I have, with Lord Sugar and the like.
That's amazing. I mean, one of the things I did get from you when we met was just your energy. You've got this really infectious vibe about you that's just really exciting. And just listening to the story, I can just really hear that build-up of how you became, the success that you are today. Before we focus on some of the businesses that you're working on at the moment, it'd be great to talk to you about your experience on The Apprentice.
Oh, definitely. I love that. I love that program. And it honestly changed my entire life. I had never heard of the show before I got to England, to the UK. I'd never heard of who Lord Sugar was, which really upsets him when I couldn't get the loan from the bank, the guy that sat next to me at the office in the advertising company said, "Hey, why don't you try out for The Apprentice?" And I said, "What's The Apprentice?" He said, "It's a TV show where an old man yells at you." I said, well, let's have a go at that. So I went down to the Apprentice with my friend Blake to the tryouts, and we tried out with 75,000 other people.
Wow.
That's a lot of people. I didn't realize how big the program was until I went through the process. And you see literally hundreds of thousands of people try out. There were 75,000 in my audition, which is pretty significant when you're a guy from a town with a few thousand people, and essentially 3 times the town is trying out for one day of the show or whatever. It's pretty eye-opening.
Yeah.
So I went through the process, went from 75,000 to the top 1,000 to the top 100 into the top 20 that went on to the program. And for anyone who's listening that's tried out for the Apprentices program, it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in business. It is incredibly grueling. It's a long process. They're really long, 15, 20-hour days, no food, no water, really mentally exhausting in terms of what they put you through. And the whole tryouts have been designed by psychologists to test how which human beings can handle the most pressure. And basically, it's a process of elimination. They apply so much pressure to 70,000 people that they just erode into this final group that can handle what will be another 10 or 11 week grueling situation. And I remember after I finished the tryouts, I then went on to the program. I was on the program for the full. I was the first one in the boardroom on week 1, the last one out on week 11 as the winner. I remember the week after the show, I just slept for a whole week because I was so physically and mentally drained from the attention that it required to be successful. And I think I'm very analytical in how I run my business. I run it by the numbers and I run it by data. And I am very similar with the Apprentice. Whenever I get onto anything or do anything, I look for data, and I then go and just hone in on, create a plan on how I'm going to be successful. And when I got onto the show, I'd never seen it before. So I went back, Wikipedia'd all the series, found out who won each series. I then went and watched each one, and I tracked the journey of the winner through each series. And then I created a plan and picking up on patterns of people who had won, what they did to achieve success. So I understood statistically which round to put yourself in as project manager, which one to withdraw from, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, like gambling, where to place yourself for the highest chance of success. And it worked. It worked pretty effectively. I think I won it with, not to sound rude or, up myself. I think I did it with some ease, to be honest.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was an amazing. It was probably one of the best times of my life. But I was so focused, Sanj, I can't tell you, at night, for example, the other contestants, we'd finish dinner and they'd stay up and drink wine and chat and, talk rubbish to each other. I would be in bed at 8:30. I'd be the first one in bed. I'd be taking notes on what happened on the day, what the plan is tomorrow. Like, I was a nerd with it all.
Yeah.
And people would be shagging in the house. They would be like doing all of this crazy stuff. And what I understood was everything is getting fed back to the management and to Lord Sugar. He does not want a future business partner that's up till midnight drinking, that's trying to kiss all the women in the house, whatever it might be. That having some applied discipline throughout the whole thing would benefit my reputation, and it did. And I think that that's what made me win. It was just being a bit nerdish and really disciplined with my whole approach to the whole thing. And winning that show financially and with my profile gave me the profile which changed my life and has enabled me to get meetings with basically whoever I want. So
yeah,
it comes back. Everything in life comes back to focus and hard work and dedication. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the boardroom like?
I remember the first time I went in there, and it was pretty scary on TV when I'd watched the show. And then for the first time I was in there, the whole first boardroom session, I can't recall it. I was so nervous. I could feel my toes shaking in my shoes, and I couldn't recall it. I was almost fainting. I was so nervous because it's such an intimidating environment, and they really build it up. And they they make Lord Sugar on this pedestal, and the environment's so scary that you really are on edge. It's amazing, the production, and we're so hidden back from the production that you see what you're seeing is really happening, and it's all being staged to really apply so much pressure to us. It was such an amazing thing. I've never been so frightened in my whole life, and it is such an intimidating session. And that boardroom, you see it for 15, 20 minutes on the show, but in real life, it takes us 8 hours to film it.
Whoa.
And it's just such an intense time, really taxing mentally, because what they do is they'll film for 8 hours, and the bit that you see on TV is where someone in an 8-hour session has made a mistake. You know, they've finally cracked under the pressure and said something stupid or said something aggressive, because, you know, for the first 3 hours we were perfect, and then we lost the plot by hour 6 or 7. So very tough, very tough. The only bit harder than the boardroom was the interviews on the week 10 with like Claude and all of that. That was ridiculously hard. That was like a 12-hour session of just one-to-one killing us, absolute, going into everything you did, every picture where you look a bit pissed on Facebook, every ex-girlfriend, every time you've done this or posted this on social media, or done this on they've rang your school and got a report, and they literally went through your whole life like an audit and just brought it bare on national TV. And that was really tough. Really,
I can imagine. Yeah. Just from that whole experience, I mean, obviously you won The Apprentice, which is an amazing achievement for anyone. Even though the show technically is, it is entertainment, there is, just from speaking to you, it just sounds like such a grueling process. Do you have any scars from that process at all?
Definitely. Wow. I would, and being careful about how I answer this, I can understand you read about the savageness that happens, unfortunately, young reality stars killing themselves, all of this stuff that happens post Love Island, Apprentice, Big Brother, all of this stuff. Now, there's so much that's going on. You're under so much scrutiny and pressure constantly on the program. Then you come out, and here's an example. Before I went into the house on The Apprentice, I had 83 followers on Twitter. Okay, a whopping 83 followers. I came out of the house and the show, and I had 94,000.
Wow.
So I literally went from being able, I remember the first Thursday I was out of the house or whatever, I went to Starbucks for a coffee, and they literally had to close the door at the Starbucks to stop people coming in to ask for selfies and photos and autographs and all of this stuff, because it was mental. It was filling up the whole shop of people going ballistic. And so I've gone from, and I still see myself as a normal bloke, but you go from being a completely Joe Soap average person to you can't go and get a coffee because you've got to have 450 selfies and stop and talk to everyone about Lord Sugar. And if the phone rings, do you really have 20 minutes to get ready and be out the door? And, these questions that I get 400 times a day. So it's amazing. You go from nothing to this, and then all of a sudden the next series comes out and you go to nothing again.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine
the mental stress of everything that's going on, and the sense of loss when you're not as important or whatever it might be. And I think a lot of people find it very hard to talk about. Now, where I was lucky is I won. So why does that mean I'm lucky? Well, that gave me a prolonged sense of the fame side, the profile side. So mine didn't die off as quickly as the contestants, which meant that, I'm still very recognizable because I'm one of the winners and always will be. Secondly, I didn't go into it for fame. I went into it for the right reasons. I went into it for business. And thirdly, I have a mentor which has seen 10 other people before me go through Lord Sugar. So he really coached me and took me under his wing, I'd say, as how you should conduct yourself and what you should do. And when you've got to focus on starting up and running a business, you're not so worried about going into a club and being paid £500 for a show up opportunity. So that was where I was very lucky. I wasn't exposed or worried about that side of it, but I can really understand and feel how scarred and the damage that these reality TV show contestants are left with, because it is really tough being on the show. It's really grueling. It's mental. Then you have the fame side to deal with for the first time, and then you have the not being famous side when the next series of whatever show you're on comes out. And a lot of people try and hold on to that fame like a tiger that's running away. And that's the worst thing you can do.
Absolutely. And I think you touched on something very important there. In all walks of life, particularly reality television, you really need that network around you, that circle around you to support you. And having a strong mentor is so important. And you've got one of the best mentors ever, which is Lord Sugar, which is brilliant.
Yeah, and I think changing the people that you surround yourself with is almost essential. Having a network of people that are the right network, that are supportive, that understand what you've been through, that are going to keep you grounded. My friends and family would never, we go out for a meal and someone comes and asks for a photo, and they take the piss out of me for the next 5 minutes. Oh, look at you. And you need that around you, because if you've got people that are blowing smoke up your behind constantly, there's going to be this pressure to be this huge superstar and do all of this stuff. And having the right network and people and mentor and the right goals for yourself personally are essential. If you're doing anything to be famous, it's not a good reason to do anything. You need to do things that you enjoy and that you get value and that you can do for a sustained period of time, because that's what's going to give you real joy. And all the people I know that have done things for fame are the most miserable people I've ever met.
Absolutely. Talking about your mentors, Lord Sugar is your mentor.
Yes.
Your relationship with him before you won The Apprentice, my assumption was quite, he was kind of protected from you a little bit. But then once you made that jump into being the winner of Series 10 of The Apprentice, you had a door to him, and you met him for the first time, I'm assuming, outside of the Apprentice space. What was that like?
Really scary again, and very bizarre. I think the first time I left the show, and he said, he did the whole thing. He's like, "You're going to be my business partner," and I went and got in the Rolls Royce and filmed all that, did all
Wow.
that. You're going on the news, you're doing all these press opportunities about being the winner, but deep down, you actually don't know what that means. You're not sure what's about to happen. So he called me after with the boardroom. He gave me his business card and he said, I'll message you and call you about what we're going to do next. So he WhatsApped me and said, come round to my flat on Sunday and we'll have a chat about how things are going to move forward. And I thought, oh shit, this is cool. Lord Sugar's WhatsApping me, it is like a really closed circle type thing. So I went round to his house on a Sunday afternoon. I wore a 3-piece suit, like a full waistcoat, tie, puffer, the whole deal, because I wanted to look $1 million for our first meeting. Went round to his house. He had on a tracksuit. It's like a Sunday afternoon. His flat is not a flat, by the way. It's in the poshest hotel in central London.
Wow. So
I roll up to Mayfair, get into this posh hotel, go into his flat, which is just unbelievable. So you kind of felt like Alice in Wonderland. I'm kind of walking around just observing this life. I was living in a flat with 11 people where you had to schedule in time to do your washing in the machine. And I'm in this flat in Mayfair in a billionaire's house who's ultra famous. And I just won a TV show in a country where I'm not from. So the whole thing's feeling like some sort of sick joke at this point. I go in and he's just I took in my business plan and my CV, because I didn't really know him. I'd only seen him across the boardroom table. So I said, Lord Sugar, thank you so much for the opportunity. Here's my CV. and he ripped it up in front of me, like literally tore my CV, and it's just me and him in the room. He threw it on the floor and he said, "Son, I don't care how far you can throw a fucking boomerang." And I'm sorry for the language, but I want to give you the real story. And we sat down and we chatted for like 3 hours about how we were going to start the business, who our customers would be, how it would work, blah, 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 blah. And I remember I left and I honestly felt like I'd done 12 rounds with Mike Tyson. I was like in a day. And, you know, he went through every number in my business plan, every line that I'd said, kind of ripped the whole thing apart. And I just kind of felt demolished. And I walked out across the road from his hotel, went into this Starbucks, and I just sat in there and was trying to understand what was happening. Like so much was going on, you know, and then next one thing led to the next. We opened the business, and then, you know, on the first day we opened the business, I got 7,000 leads.
Wow.
Because the show, it was this highest rated series of the show because it had had a 2-year hiatus before my series. Yep. So you know, there was like 10 million people in the final episode watching me saying, "Mark Wright, climb online, climb online, climb online." Then I launched the website. No server could keep the website live from the amount of traffic that receiving. I got 7,400 leads in the first day. And and it was just me. We had no employees. I was setting up my desk and computer in Lord Sugar's offices, and we couldn't keep up with what was going on. And then you start getting all these haters being like, "How can he be this great businessman? They can't even answer the phone or deal with my inquiry or, you know, keep their website live." But the challenges that presented themselves, you know, opening a business or starting a startup business is hard enough. When you're famous for the first time, let's use the word famous, which I don't really like, but let's call it that. And you've got the added element of running a business, but also dealing with the profile, the haters, the newspapers, all of this on the flip side. It was really challenging. It was really hard. And our website kept getting hacked. There was people stalking me. It was really a weird situation. We got sued in the second month.
Whoa.
Like just crazy stuff that you wouldn't have without going the TV route if you just went and raised money and had an investor. So it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. And you know, that's why, you know, if you look, there's, I don't know, there might be 13 winners of the show, 14 winners of the show. There's only 5 of us with Lord Sugar, because it's not an instant ticket to success. Just because you win a show, just because you have a mentor, doesn't mean you're going to be the next, you know, Steve Jobs. You really have to concentrate. You really have to knuckle down, because, you know, it's just as many have failed that have been successful.
Awesome. So let's talk about Climb Online. Tell us about the business.
Well, Climb Online has been, first of all, I love that name, Climb Online. It's probably the best thing I've ever come up with in my entire career. I always believe with any company that I try and say what it does on the tin. And coming up with a name, Climb Online, for a digital agency was, I think, pretty genius, and has been pretty remarkable. But we're a digital marketing agency. We say what we do on the tin. We build websites. We run paid media accounts, social media accounts, influencer marketing accounts. And our job is to take a business and generate them more income and leads from digital marketing. And I think I came into the sector with a plain talking, plain speaking attitude of, I will get your website more traffic and get you more customers. And that spoke to a lot of business owners, you know, being able to really break down, instead of this, you know, impressions, this click-through rates, CPCs, the jargon that people were hitting business owners with. They clearly didn't understand it, and just they were scared away. And coming in with a really simplistic approach has been, I think, to a much of a degree, a large part of the success. We now have over 40 employees in central London, in St Paul's.
Wow.
Yeah, we're over. We're on for £10 million turnover this year. So that
amazing.
Is a good business. It's a profitable business. It's a big, I think it's a big business. We're looking at acquirement opportunities to take it to 100 million at the moment. It's been a game changer. Now, obviously, the COVID situation has proved difficult for the agency community because of everything that's going on, particularly in the travel industry, which we largely work in. So that's caused some impact. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, a good business is a good business, and nothing can stop a good business.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting what you highlighted there with regards to your approach to, digital marketing. Tiger Heart, my company, myself, I've been working in that space for a long time, and there's so much crap in the sector. There's so many people pitching just fake ideas or just throwing jargon at customers. And you're right, customers don't want to be dazzled. They just want to know the facts and want to know how a business is going to help them achieve their goals ultimately. And it's great that there's another business out there that has that approach, which is so important.
By the way, you've got a fantastic business. I've been keeping an eye on everything you've been doing since we met and since you've launched. I've seen the whole journey and your email marketing, the way you keep people up to date, the way that you mold with the sector and educate the industry is so admirable. And what I find really frustrating about the marketing industry is there's not more collaboration between companies, is that it's so cutthroat and so competitive. People are constantly slating their competitors rather than being more collaborative. And, when I go and do industry events, I went and did this one called Brighton SEO, which is the biggest in our sector for search engine optimization. Right. It was the first talk where I got booed onto the stage. I've never been booed onto a stage before, but my company and my profile from the Apprentice had caused so much sort of controversy because I was the first high profile SEO person, that the jealousy from the other company owners was unbelievable. I'd never met these people. I'd never seen them. They'd never hear me speak. They only knew I was successful from the Apprentice, and they booed me onto the stage. Because, maybe we'd taken their customers, maybe, they didn't like how I'd presented the industry, whatever it might be. But when you become super successful, no matter what it is, what sector it's in, you start getting jealousy from other people in your sector. And I really don't understand that. But I've never been taken in by my own industry. And, that's something that I know the other apprentice winners have faced as well, in the medical community, in the recruitment community, whatever it might be, that I think other business owners, rather than say, wow, how amazing someone's getting our industry out there, they think, oh, God, it's not me. And I want to bring that person down, which is, very strange.
That's awful. I mean, that is absolutely awful. I find usually, though, when people are very vocal about those types of things, especially on that type of level, like at a conference, usually it's because you're doing something that they wish they should have done, and you're being disruptive. And disruption is what lubricates the industries that we work in.
Definitely. And your business and my business are both ones that are really trying to do things differently. The way that we look at the future, new products, automation, augmentation, all of this stuff, we see it differently, what the future can be. And I remember speaking to you about the stuff that you had done with hologram technology and all of this stuff. And it was so exciting, and it got me buzzing from that dinner. If you're not seeing people push the industry forward, push products forward, and you're excited, if you feel yourself hating that person instead of excited, you might be in the wrong sector, or you might be wrong for your role. When I speak to other people who are really innovative in the sector, it really gets me going. It gets me excited because it shows me what I need to be thinking about.
Absolutely. And, that's the industry, well, the business that we work in is to inspire others and to instill wonder for our clients.
Definitely. And I love it. I love seeing one of my ideas come to life and working for a customer that gets them success. There's no better feeling because you've come up with it. You've made something up that didn't exist. You've put it out for a client, then it works and generates them income. That is that is the sweetest feeling.
So with regards to Climb Online, you mentioned some of the clients that you worked with. I didn't realize you're working with TikTok.
Yeah, so they employed us last year for they came to the UK, they opened an office in London, and they wanted to work with a London agency for they put a tender out worldwide, but they wanted a company to control their UK and European SEO, and we won the contract.
Amazing. I mean, that's a hot brand at the moment.
Oh, man. That was an amazing situation, and that really put us on the map as a worldwide agency player, because I think that a lot of people thought we got the early customers. I won some big customers early on, Emirates, Groupon, when I just won the Apprentice, and there was a lot of stuff online saying I'd only won the contract because of my profile, and they wanted the press. Now, fast forward 4 or 5 years, TikTok didn't know in China what Lord Sugar was, who Mark Wright was, what Climb Online was. We won the tender for being the best agency. And that was a great accolade to be unknown in China and win a worldwide marketing tender for SEO is they know their stuff as well. So the fact that we won that must show that we are, leading the way.
Absolutely. The proof is in the pudding.
Oh, yes, quite.
So all those idiots at Brighton SEO, please never do it, Mark, again.
Bring it on. If you haven't got haters, you are not making enough noise. And, last night I was laying in bed and I was reading through the trolls' comments on my Twitter, and it really amuses me the fact that some of these people have so much time to focus on other people's success tells me more about them than it does anything else. If you're focused more on someone else's success and failures than your own, you have to have a good hard look at yourself and really think, what am I trying to achieve as an individual?
Absolutely. Let's talk about Climbkhan, which you launched last year.
Yes, you are a well-researched man. You have put in, for a new to the podcast world, a lot of research. Great to see. So listen, Climbkhan is my passion project. I love business, it is the one thing that I really I get so much satisfaction from business. I love it. I find it like an art form, trying different things in business, doing different things. So I have always been into self-help and self-education. And I know a lot of people find that really cheesy, but I love it. And I listen to audio books. I'm constantly attending seminars because I want to learn everything there is to learn about taking my business forward. Now, I was going to seminar after seminar and getting really frustrated that I was buying my ticket for £1,000, whatever it might be, and then they were selling to me the whole time their products and services and selling me their mentor boxes. And you would pay to go to a seminar, not learn anything, and then spend another 2,000 or 3,000 on the speaker's, box of coaching. And I felt really ripped off. So just like with my agency, I decided to put my own business seminar together, which gets the top business people from around the world to help entrepreneurs. So we put our first event together. Lord Sugar was kind enough to speak for me, to be a guest. I asked Piers Morgan to speak for me and do a head-to-head business coaching session with Lord Sugar, which he agreed to. And I had like the CEO of Emirates Holidays, Imagine Cruising, Robin Della. I had Amaris Interiors, the biggest office interior design company in the country, CEO. We had people from, we had other Apprentice winners, whatever it might be, all my connections spoke for the day, and it got unbelievable reviews, and it's become something that's now a staple. In once a year, we have the top business people from around the world come in and do. Just note that the one thing in their contract, they're not allowed to sell, they're only allowed to educate. And we do different things, like one will be about social media, one will be about finance, one will be about software, whatever it might be. There's different categories, different subjects. But it's just so that people, when they come in that want to take their business to the next level, when they leave, they have really actionable, tangible tips and stuff they can really put into their business the next day. And it seems to be a hit with business owners.
Well, that's amazing because, we touched on this when we started this call about how everyone's time is really valuable, like now more than ever. And there are a lot of events out there that are just a group of people trying to sell their product to the attendees. And I think there needs to be some form of progressive discussion about the problems of that. And it's great to see that companies like yourself are trying to change that, trying to disrupt that, and add value to people's time.
But also people that are, you've only got to go on Instagram for 5 minutes, and it's very frustrating for me. You have all of these so-called super successful mentors, and then you go on Company's House and they have not got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And you think, how are these people got the hide? They've obviously had a photo shoot in front of someone else's Lamborghini, and then telling people how to get rich, how to make money from home, how to do this, who to do that. They don't have any money themselves. On my stage at Climbkhan last year, I think I was the only non-billionaire that took the stage. I was the poorest.
Wow.
And, there was like 2 or 3 billionaires as keynotes. And the point is, if you want, I've been so lucky, and the reason I've been successful is I've had really good coaching, really good mentoring, proper coaching and mentoring, not some, spotty faced guy on Instagram in front of a Learjet. A really successful person. And anyone that's going to coach you has to have been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt. If you want a great personal trainer, you go to the man or woman with a fantastic body, with a great diet that has the results. You don't go to the morbidly obese person because they haven't got the results. And it's the same in business. You go to Lord Sugar, Richard Branson, whoever it might be, that knows exactly how to get the results. And so I'm very passionate about, because it really upsets me that I find it unethical. You've got me going on a subject that I'm really passionate about.
No, that's fine. Go for it.
I find it really unethical for these people out there that call themselves coaches to coach people that when they've never had business success. They're taking money from people and giving them ideas and structures which have never been proved successful. And it's dangerous, because we need to be helping business owners really become successful. And the only way to do that is from people that can do it. So that was why I did it. I was fed up with going to things and listening to people that were actually much less successful in business than I was. And, success means different things. I'd always talk about success from the frame of business. I'm not saying that, someone's up there might have £1 billion and their marriage might be down the toilet. That's a whole nother subject for a different day. We're talking about how do you make your business more successful.
Absolutely. And the great thing is with this new property that you developed, Climbkhan, is you're creating a new community and you're creating debate within that community, which is, a very important thing.
Quite right. Yeah, it's been really amazing. Actually, it's had spin-off benefits for my agency, for all my other companies, because whenever you give, Climbkhan loses me money. It doesn't make me money. It's a huge money drain. But whenever you give to your sector, whenever you give to other people, you tend to always get a lot more in return. And I've put on this seminar. I bring all these coaches from around the world at my own cost, put them in hotels, whatever it might be. The amount of business I got off the back of it was unbelievable. We had our record trading 8 months off the back of it. And I wasn't expecting that. I'd hoped something like that would happen, of course, but I wasn't expecting it. And really, you've got to give before you can get. If you're looking to increase your business, you're looking to expand, start a podcast, write a book, speak on stage, coach, mentor, whatever it might be in your sector to be seen as an expert. Once you're seen as an expert, as a trustworthy person, you get more business. And a lot of people don't understand that. They want to get before they give. You've got to give before you can get.
Absolutely. Mate, this discussion has been really inspiring. No, it's great. No, it's honestly, there's so much value there, and I'm sure people listening are getting a lot from it. So I really appreciate it. We've got a few more questions before we wrap up, because we are starting to edge towards the end of the discussion. First thing I wanted to ask you, so you were listed in the Forbes 30 under 30 list. It was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? It was 2017, yes. Is that right? What has that done for you as an entrepreneur?
That was amazing. I think where that would be up there with winning the Apprentice, being listed on Forbes. I think where I was well known in business for business in the UK from the Apprentice, I wasn't known globally. And Forbes has given me a lot of attention and a lot of customers from particularly America and Europe, but really respected in America. And America is such a hugely competitive market that every little helps. And that really boosted my profile, particularly in the media industry. I got listed as one of the top media people for my age in the world, and that really assisted the growth of the agency, but also just my brand in terms of speaking internationally, being asked to do things in different countries. So it was more about more of a global personal growth than it was anything else. But it just really, again, drummed home that The Apprentice wasn't a fluke. That all my success wasn't from The Apprentice, that, when you compare me globally to other agencies and other people of my age, statistically, we are doing really well. And, I think anyone who finds success thinks, was it an accident? Was it a fluke? Am I a one-trick person? And it's always nice to see more and more results drum home that, you are good in your sector, you are good in your business, whatever it might be, no matter who you are. I'm sure Lord Sugar gets an award and still feels some sense of, oh, that was nice. It's good to know that you're doing a good job. But I won I've got listed on Forbes, and then I won Entrepreneur of the Year in the UK the following year.
Wow.
And, all of these things, I don't even know where the trophies are for these anymore. These things, it's not about the trophy. There's just something nice about someone giving you a nod and saying you can keep going. But it comes back to not doing it for those things. You've got to do it because you love it, and you've got to do it to do it. Don't do it for a trophy or for Forbes or for this or for that, because you will never get there. Or when you get the trophy, it'll feel very empty.
Absolutely. We've got some really bizarre questions for you now. There's only two, but I'll throw them in. First one, have you met the other Mark Wright?
Yeah. So we'd never met, right? And we had a couple of spats at each other in the media.
Wow.
And then we were compared, or people have mixed up, like, I've turned up to things and they were expecting him, and really awkward stuff like that, like terrible, terrible stuff. Anyway, we never met.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden I got invited. Ferrari rang my office. And this is a true story. This is unbelievable. So
wow.
Ferrari rang my office. Can we speak to Mark? The staff don't put Ferrari through, because they think it's a prank call. Someone claiming they're a big boss at Ferrari. They want to speak to me. Anyway, for some reason, I thought that just sounds a little weird. Even if it's a prank call, I want to follow up with that. So I did this thing. It is actually Ferrari. They say, listen, we follow you on Instagram. Basically, long story short, Ferrari were not fully keeping up with the influencer world of, like, the young business guys posting, and Mercedes and stuff were eating their lunch. So Ferrari said, would you come to Silverstone? We'll lay on like a 5-star first-class experience, meet the drivers, sit in the cars, the whole deal. Come to Silverstone to the F1s and just, post out to your followers about Ferrari. And I said, well, I'll do anything for that experience, right? I'll come without clothes on. So I go out to Silverstone, and the other person, it was quite genius for them. The other person they've invited is the other Mark Wright as well. They've invited both of us.
Whoa.
To do this Ferrari experience together. So me and the other Mark Wright at Silverstone F1s for the Grand Prix. And it was me and him as and we just had to do a series of posts for Ferrari. And it was quite cool because we were posting about each other, like, oh, it's the other Mark Wright, it's the other Mark Wright. And we were also doing this thing. So it was quite a good stunt from them for social media. But it was it was one of the best days of my life, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet.
And we met all the drivers, but I did meet him. There's a post on my Instagram about it, and it was he's a lovely, lovely bloke, and I'm ashamed to say a very handsome man.
I'm sure he's a cool guy, actually.
Very cool, and incredibly intelligent, which I wasn't expecting.
So last question before we do the outros. And I thought, I mean, I only kind of devised this question from talking to you. Are you still in contact with the guy that you were working with at the SEO agency that said that suggested that you should go on The Apprentice?
Yeah, he's so the guy that suggested I should go on The Apprentice is now he's one of my best friends.
Wow.
In the whole world, and he was sat at the desk next to me. He's from New Zealand. His name's Blake, and he said to me, and he's such a nice guy. He's crazy, but he's nice. And he said to me, "Listen," he said, "if I send you this," he said, "I've got a feeling that if I send you the link for The Apprentice, you're going to get on it." He said, he's like, "When I look at you, I see a movie star." That's what he said. I mean, it was very bizarre to hear someone say that. But he said, "I can just tell that you're going to be someone that's going to be really great." And it was such a nice compliment. He sent me the link, and I thought, well, someone's going to send you a compliment and a link like that. You should go along with it. And his generosity in that instance, I hadn't heard of the show, hadn't even knew anything about it. And that one link that he sent me, that one email, changed my entire life.
Yeah.
Financially, profile-wise, you never know. You're one decision away from a completely different life, one day from the next. And that one friend, his name's Blake, has sent me other links to different opportunities in business that have led to as much money as The Apprentice coming in. So he's become a very handy colleague to have around.
Sounds like a lucky charm, that one.
Yeah. Well, he's a good. It comes back to everything we said at the start. Your network, surrounding yourself with the right people, looking at the right opportunities. Most people, are hanging around the wrong crowd. They're hanging around the wrong people and wondering why they're getting the same results. You go to a different environment, you meet a Blake, next minute your life changes. So, have a look at who you surround yourself with. Are they giving you opportunities?
Awesome. Mark, this has been amazing.
Mate, it's great. You're a fantastic interviewer, and I'm very honoured to be one of the first guests on your show.
I really appreciate it. If anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Well, I'm very easy to find, as one might imagine, but you have to be careful not to click the other Mark Wright, as we've discussed. So if you go to any social media platform and search Mark Wright, I come up second on every platform. Very frustrating as someone in SEO.
Awesome. And they can contact you via the Climb Online website as well, right?
Climb-online or climb.online on any browser, or just search Climb Online, and you can come through to me, and there's links to contact us there. But we'd love to help any businesses that are interested in marketing, but also love to have anyone at our conference, Climbkhan.
And when's the next Climbkhan, by the way?
It's going to be on in the first week of June next year. We've unfortunately had to move it with everything that's going on with this situation. And I kind of had the feeling that, look, it's probably not going to help to move it to September. So we've moved it to Friday, the 4th of June, 2021.
No problem. Really appreciate your time today. It's been awesome. I'm sure everyone that's been listening has got a lot of value from it. For those of you that are listening, if you've got any questions or you want to share this, please share on Tiger Heart Chats, hashtag all one word. Mark, you've been awesome.
Thank you so much, Sanj. It's been an amazing experience, and I wish you all the success with your podcast, and I'll keep following your agency.
Okay, guys, take care wherever you are and stay safe.